But first, a message from our sponsor. Comic books have come a long way over the years. They've always been wonderful works of art, but it took the public a while to catch on. We've also seen comics journey from a cheap disposable entertainment to hard-bound, designed with painstaking craft, and back again. And not only does the look of comics range from tiny folding zines with single images to 600-page epics and oversized artist editions, but the subject matter that these stories cover is infinite. Comic books, even American comics, were never just about superheroes, and genre type means less in comics than any other art form. The relationship between words and pictures is the essence of comics, and that is ingrained in the DNA of humanity. Comic books are world culture. From fun fantasy to entertaining education, there is something in comics for every person. In this show, we'll check out the comics that I come across in my own journey to becoming the cartoonist that I want to be. All of the books that you'll see were either purchased directly from the creators or in most cases from local comic shops. So when we find something that interests you, please head to your friendly neighborhood comic shop where small business owners and nice people are ready to help. But there's only one way you're going to find that perfect story.
Read more comics.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 6 of Read More Comics. Remember, it is Wednesday, which means it's New Comic Book Day at your local comic shop. So when we're done here, head over to your local comic shop and see all the new goodies they got in today. But for now, we're going to check out these 3 beautiful books. First off, we have Middle West with Scotty Young, Jorge Corona, and Jean-Francois Beaulieu. Vantage Point, or I think that's how you would read it. Vantage Point, or just Vantage, I'm not sure. By Aaron Franklin, I believe is how you pronounce their first name. And Batman White Knight by Sean Murphy with Matt Hollingsworth on colors. Our first big 2 entry into Read More Comics, and I think a worthy inclusion. Alright, let's see here. Where to get started? Middle West, perfect. I gotta say, I am loving this book and everything about it. If I'm able to, what you're listening to, or you'll have to go listen to it, there's a song by Doompunks that they made special for this comic book, and I believe that they made an album of these songs for different comic books, which anytime you're mixing music and comics, I think that's a pretty amazing thing. 2 of my favorite things out there. So this is Middle West. It's not Scotty Young's first time writing, but it's the first time I've picked up something that's just solely based off of what he wrote that doesn't have his art in it, which I just kind of found intriguing. The artwork by Jorge Corona does not disappoint at all, and the colors by Jean-Francois are just beautiful. What I really like about this book is I grew up my whole life in the Midwest. This is called Middle West, and that's kind of a cool, kind of a perfect title for this, because it's sort of, he seems like a regular kid, hoodie, nothing special, but then there's like big, crazy, larger-than-life stuff that happens. Is that not a beautiful 2-page spread? So it's something we're familiar with, the Midwest, but then he just injects a little bit of weird into it, kind of like Rene Magritte's version of surrealism. It's not quite as out there as like, Salvador Dali, but he just takes something like normal and then just twists it a little bit, and then you get a lot of cool storytelling out of that. So thus we go to the sort of magical land of the Middle West with broad sweeping plains, big windstorms, monsters, family relationships, all sorts of good stuff. At the heart of this story is kind of the tale between a kid and his dad. He's being raised by his dad, and they don't have a very good relationship. The father harbors a lot of anger for whatever has happened to him in life, is harboring a secret as well that he's trying to suppress, and the kid is suffering under that. And it almost seems like a genetic sort of mutation, this anger, this beast inside that's being passed down. And it starts off like a lot of fantasy stories where they're just kind of showing you the relationships of the people, the type of person your main character is, and the world that we live in. So it doesn't start off slow by any means, but something that I really enjoy about Middle West. And there's quite a few of them. There's quite a few of them out by now, and I've been following along, and it's still on my pull list at a comics place here in Bellingham. So I'm still loving it. And what I really like about it is every issue is kind of a self-contained thing. It's not just drawing itself on and on and on some big epic thing, but you're really seeing a different facet of this world each issue, and it does kind of move on because it is a journey piece. It is something a lot of kids have dealt with, is running away, and then seeing kind of how scary the world really is out there. Not necessarily making you want to go home, just sort of feeling lost even more. So there's a lot of heart in this story. The symbol for this story, this heart where, it just kind of begins getting strangled by this other stuff that goes around it, is sort of a mark of what's going on. I'm trying to speak vaguely about it because I really want you guys to go check this one out. I don't want to give away too much, which I don't think I would, but like I said, there's just a lot of like simple things like this pink liquid that seems to be connected to everybody's houses and to the trains. You get a feel right away that this is some sort of fuel system for this world. So it's like our world, but it's different. So little things like that are brilliant. You see here this thing kind of glowing on his chest as he's kind of escaping the windstorm that is kind of the anger of his father, the unleashed thing. So it's really walking, sort of literal and metaphor kind of hand in hand, but doing it quite well. At the end of every issue of Middle West, there's a spot for extras, which is always fun. I think for fans and for cartoonists alike, just to see a peek behind the curtain, no pun intended as far as wizards go and everything, but to see how things are done and how they're being done and how they're being received by the public and everything. So I love to see all these extra sketches to see how they came to a character and what they landed on. The covers, they have different ones for everybody. This guy here, how do you not want to read that book too after you read the first one? And that's how it is. Every book just keeps you wanting more. You learn more and more about the world. It gets more, I don't know if complex is the right word, just it enriches. He gets further away from home, so you really start to see more and more of this world and what different aspects look like, from traveling carnival fairgrounds to like a big dirty city. And the trouble that he gets into. I don't think this is a real big spoiler, but first off, it was kind of a nice thing to see. He's got a sidekick companion. He probably wouldn't like to be called a sidekick, but talking fox. So right away, that's something. And there's not like a million talking animals in this. You almost, and the fox does talk to other people, so I don't think it's like an imaginary thing at all. But it's just kind of cool. You just kind of quickly accept in this world. Between this first scene where you see that big monster in a dream, you see this fox talking to him, and you see this weird pink liquid on all the trailers, and seemingly like a regular trailer park, you just get the idea that there's more to this world that you want to know about, but it doesn't burden you down with trying to like teach you a whole bunch of this is how magic works, and this is how the science works, and these are the different class systems. It doesn't really worry about that. It just dives in, and man, it's a beautiful book on a heartfelt level, on an art level, on an entertainment level. This book is really firing on all cylinders. Scotty Young is a hell of a creator. Came from Fuck Fairyland or I Hate Fairyland, depending on which copies you're picking up, but through Image. Has done a lot of great cover work as well as book work for Marvel. And he's just an awesome creator and a really cool guy who also is from the Midwest. I was privileged to be able to get like lots of different books signed and see him at a lot of shows because he's at a lot of them there. The Kansas City area has a lot of amazing creators as well as the Midwest in large. So I've spoken enough about how awesome this book is. I really recommend it. You're going to love it. Check it out. It's a wonderful creator. There's going to be some trades probably out available. I think a lot of people are liking it, so there's going to be, I would guess, some cool hardcover editions. But until then, go to your local comic shop, see what they can order in for you. All right, moving right along. What do we have? I don't think it worked. Oh, this little guy. Let's get a closer look. Whoa. All right, there we go. Got a better vantage point for Vantage Point. It wouldn't be Read More Comics unless we had some cool stuff out of the ordinary, and this definitely scratches that itch. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Eroyn Franklin. I pronounced it just Aaron Franklin. I hope that is correct. I don't mean to offend. This is a beautiful book. I wish I remember. I was on a mission when I was down in Seattle one weekend handing out flyers for a comic that I was helping kickstart. And I just picked up a bunch of books at a bunch of different stores. I wish I could remember where I got this one, but you're not at a shortage for good comic shops in Seattle, greater Seattle area. But I had to get this one. It was definitely something different, and I didn't even look too closely. I was just like, yep, that's for me. On the back of this little slip thing, I'll read it here for you. It says, "The texture of the ground unfurls, revealing the surrounding landscape. These perspectives of the trail document the long walk, a socially engaged project where Susan Robb leads a 4-day, 45-mile walk from Puget Sound to Snoqualmie Falls, using the regional trail system." So a cool journey comic thing where someone's documenting their stuff. And it took me a time or two to kind of really realize what I was looking at. I was just like, well, this is beautiful inking stuff, and I love that. But kind of what the idea is as you open it, it's a sculpture comic. This one unfolds. There's another one that's like in a pyramid area, and she's got like another one out. You really got to check out the website for this artist. There's some cool stuff there. But basically, if you start off, you imagine that you're the artist. You look down, look at the ground. And then as you look up, how that translates into what you're seeing. How cool is that? Is that not badass? Now, if you're just a fan of beautiful artwork, you're going to love this because it gives you a lot of fun things to look at. You fold the next one. Once again, if you're an artist, your mind just starts spinning on ways that you can use some of this folding stuff and what you could do with it within a comic as the comic, but then you just sit back and enjoy the ride. Because to do this type of stuff and look this good, that is not easy to draw. Like, you're looking down at a bunch of grass and weeds and plants and stuff all tangled together. And it's not a mess. You can see that. You feel like you're standing in it. And then as you look up from that vantage point, this is what you're looking at. I feel like I know this place. A tree farm or something like that. I don't know. But beautiful, another beautiful one there. Once again, looking down at your feet, and then... So it's all art on this one. It's the experience of the folding out, the interacting with it, seeing where it is, that little bit on the back. These are your pictures. The words are just simply on the back there, so you have a context for what you're seeing. But once you kind of realize, man, this thing is so cool. I don't want to flip through the whole thing. Yeah, there's a few left that you guys should check out for yourselves. I'll just kind of show you the first part before the unfolding. But even just looking down at pavement and just rocks and dirt, it comes off looking pretty cool. I don't think I actually saved that many. But like I said, they have a lot of work out there. This one is definitely worth owning. It's obviously not going to be a big expensive book. It's just really cool. It's beautiful. It's creative. Gives you a look into the Pacific Northwest up here from a different vantage point. But I really like this, and after looking at the artist website, which I think is just aaronfranklin.com, once again, EROYN Franklin.com, I believe. I'll have the link posted below. Check out all their stuff. This is a very creative person doing a lot of creative things, and you should be paying attention. But yeah, all right, thank you for that one, Miss Franklin. All right, let's zoom out and move on to the next book. Let's go. All right, talking about another artist that's firing on all cylinders, Sean Gordon Murphy with Matt Hollingsworth. They make an awesome creative team where it's Sean Murphy behind the pencils and inking and everything, and then Matt Hollingsworth on colors. And that duo really works beautifully together. This is the hardcover. I first got this series in the floppies. I do love a good Batman tale. I love a good Marvel tale as well. Here at I'd Rather Be Drawing, we have nothing against the big two and good poppy stuff, but there's just so much of both, it's hard for me. I don't have the money to kind of keep up or the want, and I don't think that it's all, amazing stuff, but I do think there's amazing creators in those, in DC and in Marvel, and you get beautiful stuff like this from time to time that I think is worth a look. So when people just dismiss superhero stuff, I think it's to your own peril. There's a lot of good stuff going on, and a lot of creators have their heart and started their art, in these comics. So when they have a chance to dabble in them, you get to see some really good stuff. Now, it is one of the pop books, so it does have, the shiny pages. So we'll deal with that. But I love this one. I've been reading Sean Gordon Murphy books for a while now, and it's usually just based off the art. But he works with great writers, so the stories are always good too. And I could be wrong, but seems to be kind of the first story that I recall where he's writing. It was the first time I saw that, where it was just him on the book, and I was kind of fascinated by that because I loved his art so much. And man, did he jump into the deep end, it seemed like. I'm sure this is not his first go-round with writing. It would be hard to believe because it's so well crafted. You can definitely tell that this comes from a place where this person has been a fan of Batman and been consuming Batman culture, and knows what chess symbols go with what era, and what Batmobile goes with which movie or which episode, or all kinds of things like that. And we get it, but along with that, with the reverence for everything that's come first, we get a new looking Batman, which I think is pretty awesome. I think there was a shot of him towards the back here. Well, you get some process shots here. Just these cool, great big boots that go up with the flat shoes. Reminds me of Chrononauts, some of the design from there. I don't know, Batgirl suit. These are all, like, everyone looks like such badasses the way he designs them. And they don't necessarily look the same that they've always been. Every time you think you know what this story is about, like which type of Batman story, it kind of turns and is about something else, but very eloquently ties it all together. So you very quickly go, okay, cool, this is a Joker story. And then it sort of twists, and you find out it's a Harley Quinn story a little bit. And the cool thing about that is if you come from the era of this Harley Quinn, you're going to enjoy this story and see a really cool twist on why Daddy's little monster is here and around. And if you prefer this version, I think you're also going to like it. You get a new character in Neo Joker that emerges. Because what happens is basically Joker's big scheme in this one is he's going to go completely straight. He's going to go sane. And he's going to turn everything on its head. He's going to turn the city against Batman. He's going to turn Batman's own family against Batman. And he's going to do it not as the Joker, but as Jack Napier. And thank you, Jack Nicholson. We all know who that is, but it's this guy here. What's cool about this story as well is he incorporates in elements of what's going on in our world today, but it doesn't come off feeling like a direct commentary or philosophy on what's happening. It just feels like what good comics like this do, which is just incorporate in elements of our reality. There's terms in here like social justice warrior. There's a politics between a city where people are very divided. Like there's very hard lines that are dividing people. There's no middle ground. And that's what happens between Batman and his family. It's what happens between Batman and Gordon. It's what happens within Joker himself. There's just a great schism. Everything gets divided. Even the story with Harley gets divided. And then every time like I said, you think you know what the story's about, then all of a sudden you get the entire Rogues Gallery. You get every one of them pretty much. So if you're like, okay, it's cool, but I prefer, I want to see some Bane. You get some Bane. You get some Croc. You get, you get a beautiful Gotham. What are the things Batman's about? An awesome striking silhouette. The design of this Batman is awesome with the big cape. He's got a whip and knife on his belt, all this different kinds of stuff. You even get eyeballs in the back cowl. You're not seeing fake, just white across the lenses of his eyes. You're getting eyeballs through it. So you get an awesome Batman striking silhouette. You get a beautiful Gothic city in Gotham. You get a beautiful Rogues Gallery because you get all of them. Look at that. You get to see all of them, and they're all designed beautifully. They all look really cool, and they're all there. You get the Bat family, and you get a cool twist on the story with that. I don't know if you can quite say that he's retconning a whole bunch of stuff, because this does feel... to me, it's like Killing Joke. It's like Dark Knight Returns. It's like all those ones that have existed. Hush, all these things that have sort of existed outside of the main canon, but have a way of being so good that parts of it kind of start becoming canon. I don't know if that's happened yet with this one, but like I said, there are elements that probably don't line up with your classic Batman, and where they're keeping, issue 1000 and all that. It sort of does its own thing. but like I said, incorporates all that in together. You get reference, you get Batgirl and Robin, you have Nightwing, it's not necessarily like the huge extended Bat family. It's the kind of a smaller one, but you get talk of what's been going on with their dynamic and how it's not working. And I really, really love it. I don't know what else I can say about it. And I've shown you this stuff. You just gotta check it out. It comes off as, I think I have an issue. Like the way they kind of describe Joker in this, he's kind of the ultimate fanboy. And this is a black and white version of the scene, but this idea here, when you look at stuff like this, and there's things like this sprinkled throughout, if you're a fan of Batman, or if you're not a fan of Batman, it's just beautiful art to look at, or at least not super familiar. If you are a fan, you'll see stuff from the cartoons, you'll see stuff from the movies, from the TV show, all different kinds of Batmobiles. And not only are you just going to see stuff, it's going to be incorporated into the story in amazing ways, in amazing page turns that you don't expect. That's why I don't want to flip through too much, because it's just an amazing story. Like, I can't emphasize enough. The relationship between Batman and Harley is cool. Between Batman and his family is enlightening. Between Joker and Batman, semi-sexual love affair fascination at times. It's intriguing. Any good Batman story is kind of an interesting dive into psychology. Whether you're really looking for that or not, it's fascinating. And man, Sean Murphy pulls it off. And you've got to catch up on this because there's a part 2 going on right now. I don't know if it was always planned, but I've read the first couple of them, and it goes back into like more Batman history, like pre-Court of Owls and stuff, and like just old-time Gotham. So yeah, this is a beautiful book. Like I said, he's firing on all cylinders, and you guys have to check it out. It's a big 2-book worth the show. Because this is a big, important show. But no, seriously, I love everything about this. And you should check out all the other works done by these creators as well. Sean Murphy, Matt Hollingsworth, Scotty Young, Jorge Corona. There's that little guy here, Vantage Point by Aaron Franklin. This person also has a lot of really cool stuff at their website, so I urge you to go check out all these folks. If you can't find it at your local comic shop, which these two you definitely can, contact the artists. They're out there. They want to get their stuff to you, and it's all really cool. So thank you guys very much for joining me for another episode of Read More Comics. We'll see you next Wednesday with 3 new books. Thanks very much. Have a good one.
If you don't know already, Cartoonist Kayfabe is a huge inspiration behind this show. After all, it is the marching orders set forth by Jim Rugg and Ed Piskor, along with Tom Scioli, that gave rise to this segment in the first place. Cartoonist Kayfabe on YouTube is essential for comic book readers and aspiring cartoonists alike. It's the comic book show that the creators are watching. Anyhow, thank you Professors Piskor, Rugg, and Scioli. The education is appreciated. Find Cartoonist Kayfabe's link below.